Hi everyone, I'm with Halim Howell and we're talking today about gun violence and his organization, Race for Peace Committees. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Lucia.
Tell me more about Race for Peace Committee.
The Race for Peace Committee, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization and reach out to different states. What we do is we have local events and events for police officers and community citizens to come and join and participate in our events so that the police and the community citizens in the community can have a better understanding of law enforcement and a positive interaction with police officers.
What are your thoughts on gun violence through the East Coast region?
It seems like it's getting a little better starting in this year of 2025. It's slowing down, but then again, it's still happening. So, my thing is, I just want all the guns off the streets, especially the illegal guns. Illegal ghost guns, that's basically what I've been advocating for the past few years. Is it's the illegal ghost guns and guns that are committing the homicides and the crimes and the murders on the streets of New York City, Philadelphia, Chicago, and so forth.
Can you explain a little bit what a ghost gun is for people that don't know or never heard the term?
A ghost gun, it's like I think it's a new term nowadays in the 2020 era. It's where it's an illegal gun that doesn't have, I don't believe, serial numbers or anything on it, and then people can get access to them by making their own 3D printed gun, or it's just an illegal gun without any type of number or transaction, like where did you purchase this item from or something like that. But that's what a ghost gun is. It's where it's an illegal gun on the street that I don't think the police or anyone can track it.
How did you start the organization? What inspired you to start the organization?
The organization started by the police having better community outreach with citizens. So then sometimes, especially in the black and brown communities, you know, sometimes the police they can be our friends, but then again they can't be our friends. And then sometimes they have harsh methods, especially towards the people of color. So then mending the relationship or trying to do that with police officers is the goal, especially for communities of color.
How would you like NYPD to handle crime rates through New York City?
The NYPD, they have to basically have, I guess, more police officers on the force. That's the only thing I can think of. So when you have more police officers on the force, that can make it better and a safer community because more police cars patrolling the streets, that's the more safer the community is going to be. You imagine in New York City if there's a cop car on every single or every other street corner, basically, or every other street shopping area or something like that, or a bus station and train station, it would be a lot safer. But I think just way more police officers need to be on the street patrolling, and it just needs to be a little bit more intensified security, but then done legally.
And what is your stand on politicians trying to stop gun violence?
With the politicians, their thing is trying to get the ghost guns off the streets. They could put rules, legislation in Congress and in the Senate and in Washington D.C. and even in Harrisburg and stuff like that to try to get these guns off the streets. They just have to create more policies. There's like red flag laws, and then there's stuff like the red flag laws, but then they just need to create more policies on trying to get the ghost guns off the streets and put it and implement those rules into Washington D.C. or Harrisburg, so then they'll stop in our everyday regular lives in our neighborhoods. It's somehow the politicians have to come up with some type of legislation to really clear these ghost guns off the streets because that's the problem. It's really the ghost guns.
Whether the Race for Peace Committee plans to expand its outreach and build stronger relationships between law enforcement and communities in Queens and NYC.
The first step is trying to do a phone call or email and then something virtual or something like that. But then again, if you when we try to reach out to different police departments and districts and stuff like that, the police department has to be interested and they have to respond. Like you can do outreach to a politician, to a business. On the other receiving end, they have to respond, and then after they respond, you have to get a vibe and then see if they're actually interested. So this is like a serious topic, and it's been a issue, for the past 5, 10 years. But reaching out is a good thing, but then they also have to reciprocate and respond, and then and show some sort of interest in that.
And how does the organization envision tailoring its programs and resources to address the unique challenges and needs of communities in Queens and NYC?
It would start by reaching out to the police department anywhere in New York City, and then we would try to collaborate in an event. So an event maybe at a playground, a shopping area, and stuff like that, or at their police district. And that's how we would do that, is have an event, a simple event where youth and adults can come out to, and then just get a good vibe of police officers, basically.
And I guess that ties to my next question. What strategies will your organization use to engage the youth and seniors and diverse communities in New York City? As we know, Queens is one of the most diverse communities in the world. Um, what would be your strategy?
My strategy would be having friendly, family friendly oriented events. So that's like a barbecue, sports, basketball game, something simple where you can set up quickly and then not too complicated, but something like where there's food involved and then there's sports. So then that's like, a popular and a favorite type of event, food and sports. So that's the type of event that we would try to display and showcase and give out to the community. But it starts by New York City Police Department, NYPD responding though too, and then even the politicians. It takes two sometimes to tango. So we can reach out, but then they have to contact us back. Sometimes even even our city, Philadelphia. Sometimes it's certain you know, elected officials are too busy, and that's a nice way of putting it. But then, it takes two to tango, and it takes a team effort sometime to get stuff put together.
And are there any specific goals or partnerships that the organization have to? Um, are there any specific goals or partnerships the organization hopes to establish in Queens and New York City?
Politicians, the senator, state representative, Congress, governor, U.S. senator. It's really the politicians because they're the ones that can get the illegal things off the streets like guns and stuff, and then lower the crime rate by putting more legislation. It's the politicians and the NYPD.
Anything that you want the community to know, or politicians or whoever it's watching? Do you have a message?
Yes, the message is put more force into erasing and getting these ghost guns off the streets, and then that's my only message. Because if you imagine that there's no ghost guns on the streets, then there's only legal guns on the streets where you have to buy them from a store. So then that's the only way you will be able to access and obtain a gun. Then you have to go through steps, procedures, and paperwork and all that just to be an owner of a gun. You have to get approved to get a gun, basically. So then imagine if they get the ghost guns off the streets, then the crime rate will go way down. And the murders and the homicides, it would go way down. So then really if they get the ghost guns off the streets, I think that's the main problem because that's the only thing that me personally that I can think of so far and what I've seen in the news and stuff like that. It's really all been 80 or like 90, 80% has been all ghost guns. So, those guns have to get off the streets. And I think the crime rate will go way down, even way more than what it has been in the past years.
If someone wants to reach out or find more about the organization, how they can do that?
We have a Facebook page. It's at RFPC social media. Then our website is raceforpeace.org.
Great. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Lucia.